My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice is cold. I'm only here to even a score. Whoa. My mind is set, my grind is set, my heart on ice is cold. We down right now, but did it before. Whoa. See from here we going up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is sewn up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up. See from here we going up. Made the call, I shown up. Now the game is sewn up. Say my name is blown up. We up, 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 we up.
What up, Nine Nation, and welcome to the Nine Ones podcast, episode number 98. We're almost to 100. Super exciting. As a reminder, we are the only podcast that features a former UCF national champion, a former UCF radio host, an ESPN analyst and hoops player, an infamous, yes, that's infamous rapper, our resident influencer and IG star, shooting the breeze, talking UCF sports. Remember to like us and follow us on YouTube, IG, X, and all of the things. And remember to check out the 70-plus teams and conferences on the College Huddle. Tonight's a big night. Super excited for this evening. I'm a little nervous. As you can tell, I dressed up. And there's a reason for that. We have a special guest that I'm excited to introduce, someone who you should know. And if you don't, I'm very disappointed. But first, before we get to that, let's go ahead and bring in the crew. First to the stage, Alan Levin. You've got to do the hair flip for us since Nobra is not here. So go ahead and take that.
I got headphones on.
Lovely locks. Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, remember, folks, as we gain steam and gain more followers, once we hit 1,000 subs, Alan will be cutting that hair. I'm not saying how much he'll be cutting, but he will be cutting those lovely locks for us. So make sure you're subscribing, liking, and sharing. Next to the stage, someone who needs no introduction as well. You all know him as a UCF national champion. Trey Neal, welcome back to the stage.
Greetings, gentlemen.
How are you tonight?
How are you? I'm doing good.
I'm excited, man. No surgery for you tonight, so glad to have you. Next week. Okay. All right. Next week during football season. All right. Whatever. All right. Last but not least, but always last to the stage, Josh Lazar.
Hello, world. How are you doing? I'm excited for what's coming up today. A lot of football and football. I'm excited.
Foosball.
No foosball.
If you're German like I am, it's Fußball. But okay. That's okay. Excited to have you guys back on the stage. Excited to have you this week. Josh, I really want you to bump it up a notch because that was kind of lame. Hello world.
Where's the rhymes?
Dude, have you not noticed that's my thing?
Yeah, but you usually say it with more excitement. But that being said, I'm excited, and I'm excited for someone that you all should know. I'm going to give a little bit of an intro. This is someone that is related to UCF, is an Olympic gold medalist. So she's achieved more in her life than I ever did in 99. A World Cup champion, two-time NCAA champion, assistant coach, first assistant coach, I think, for the World Cup winning squad, and has guided us through 13 seasons at UCF. Someone who should require no introduction, but I gave it to her anyway. Coach Tiff, welcome to the stage and welcome to the show. Thank you for your time tonight.
Woohoo! Thanks for having me, guys. Excited.
No, we're super excited. We're honored. We're honored to have you on the stage with us this evening. I've actually met you a few times. You probably don't remember because you're off doing all kinds of crazy things, but I've actually met you a few times, talked to you a few times over the years at different events. But this is the first time I've been able to grace the stage with you. So thank you so much for giving you some of your time in season, folks. We usually do this before season, but she's in season and coming off a dub. So super excited to have you on the stage. When I think about, we were talking about this before, back in 99, which was when you were off winning gold medals, I was starting my time at UCF. And you fast forward a little bit forward, the music has changed, UCF has changed. Back when I was there was maybe 30,000 students. A memory mall was a dirt parking lot that was filled with mud. And, you know, UCF was not on the stage that we are today. And then you came along when we were in the American Conference and starting building all this momentum. And now we're in the Big 12. So for you, and Josh is going to check me on this, I think one of the longest tenured head coaches, I'm going to say one of, because we were talking about this beforehand on the stage. So Josh checked me on this. But I think the longest tenured head coach at UCF. Tell me a little bit about your journey. What has changed? You've raised a family here. You've integrated yourself within the community. You're a local. You know, what's that journey been like from coming here, starting in the American, and where we are today?
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks. I mean, it's been a while. I mean, we're going on our 13th season. I say we because we didn't mention, but I coach with my husband.
Right.
So Coach Tim, he's upstairs doing some analyzing. He's
doing
working on
analyzing or honeydews. Which of the two?
He's doing some. Oh no, we got game review tomorrow, so he's painting some clips for me right now. But yeah, no, so much has changed at UCF. But it's been so awesome being part of it and seeing us go through this journey. So my first year, we were just entering the American. So for women's soccer, it was like brand new coach and brand new conference. So we got to kick it off. We kicked it off with a great year that year. And but so much has changed. I mean, facilities, my office is in a different place. We've got, a different locker room. It's much prettier now. We're in a different location. I will say that our stadium still looks the same. So we're trying to help that out a little bit, but yeah, so lots of change. I've been through a few different ADs but it's been our place that we've called home. And like you said, we've raised our children here. We were 3 and 5 when we got here, and now Layla's a senior. So it's been an amazing place to raise a family. And it's really easy to recruit at UCF because I could just tell them, look, we've grown we've laid down our roots, and we've grown, our children have grown here, and we love it. So.
Well, and then you'll have Recovery Cove. I do know that the women's soccer stadium is slated for an upgrade once we get there, right? So
yes, it's part of the master plan.
Yeah, it's like phase 2, I think, right? Is it phase 2 or phase 3?
I don't know. Let's go for 2.
Yeah, let's go for 2. So you talked a little bit about the ADs. Yeah, I didn't even think about that during your journey. Obviously, you had Danny White. You got Terry Mohajer. Were you there for George O'Leary?
Yeah, O'Leary.
Yes, yeah. I was. So Todd Stansberry is who actually hired me. Todd Stansberry. I'm still friends with Todd today. Like, I spoke to him last fall. Like, so I still keep in touch with. I actually talked to Danny recently, so I kept in touch. I've kept in touch with all of my ADs, and but yeah, George O'Leary for a quick moment there.
What was that like?
What a time!
Seriously, like,
I don't even know if I should talk about it on here.
Okay, well, you don't have to say anything on air that you don't want to.
No, he was a nice guy. It was just interesting when he was in that role. Just yeah. I was like, I don't have a sport administrator. No, he's like, I'm your sport administrator. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing about Coach O'Leary that people don't know. He had this gruff and tumble exterior, right? And he was always quick with a joke, sarcastic joke. But if you get him one-on-one, get him around kids, get him around one-on-one, he was a pretty caring dude. And Trey knows him intimately because he was coached by Coach O'Leary. So
that's right.
Yeah, I actually remember that the year he went to AD. One thing, so my now wife, she plays softball, and I actually know a lot of the girls that you coach, Bridget Callahan.
Oh,
Morgan,
my baby.
All of them. So we all kind of grew up, but I've always said, like, y'all had the best stadium because, like, y'all play right on the garage, so we can sit right there and see everything. But I remember with Coach O'Leary, just my wife, she was a softball player, and she he moved everybody to nitros. I'll never forget that. He moved every student athlete to nitros, no matter what. And my wife was like, I don't even really like nitros. And me as a football player, I'm like, bro, nitros is the best. You get all this, that. And they were like, we don't really like nitros that much, but I remember like his AD time, while short, he implemented a lot of
he did
a lot of changes. It was pretty funny.
He did.
Looking back
Yeah.
at it, he was an interesting guy for sure.
He had a lot of rules right from the beginning. Yeah.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, I know that, a lot of things have changed. So, for example, when you're talking about nutrition, right, we've got the Garvey Nutrition Center now. We've got a lot more resources, the Leadership Center for the student athletes. Tell us a little bit of how that has changed at UCF in your tenure here.
Oh, my gosh. Well, first of all, the Academic Center, Trey, I don't even know. Like, did you used to have to go all the way across campus?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, there was like mold in there. Like, that thing went. They had to tear that whole building down, actually.
Yeah, they did.
So when I actually interviewed for the job, well, I had already accepted the job, but I did it. They interviewed me like in the airport, not on campus. But I feel like they were really trying to. When I finally got to campus, they were really trying to keep me away from that building. Like they did not want to show me what study hall looked like. It was so bad. So anyway, there's been a huge change, as Trey knows, and now it's a beautiful facility, and we have more tutors and more advisors helping each team, and a huge part. And we have our Knights Leadership Academy is held in there, which is a program that we have for all of our student athletes, just helping them with life skills and what's next after being a student athlete. So a lot of little seminars that we do for them, but just a ton of compliance is in there. So a ton of resources in there with the Academic Center, but the Nutrition Center, so the Garvey Nutrition Center has been a game changer. Trey, have you eaten in there then? Like, was that open? Yeah, it was. No, was it open when
No, it wasn't open yet. No. I don't think.
Okay, so
he froze. I think it looks like he froze. But it wasn't open yet when they were playing there. And then he, of course, left to go to Nebraska, so he didn't get an opportunity to do that. But he has been back to campus, obviously, several times. So I think he has eaten in there, and what they have versus what they used to have is night and day.
Totally. And it's a great recruiting. Like we bring our recruits in there and their families, and we have meals in there. So I had 4 recruits and their families on campus this weekend, and we had a couple of meals in there, and it's impressive. And not every school has that. So it's pretty cool that all of our student athletes have that access.
So, and I will leave this up to you on how much you want to say on this or what you want to say on this, but you're talking about recruits. That has changed the way recruiting happens, the resources we have available for recruiting, scholarships, when it comes to this whole craziness that was/is NIL, and now it's, I tell the story all the time. I was up here at a local place. I live in Santa Rosa Beach, which is near Destin. So there's 2 very big conferences, or one big conference, one G6 conference now, that has their meetings up here. So one of the head coaches was here, and we were sitting there talking, and he literally was picking up the phone constantly, talking to people that were essentially negotiating. But now with the changes that have come into place, with the ability to rev share and all of that, what kind of difference did that make for you and the women's soccer's ability to recruit?
Yeah. So what's been beneficial for us with the house settlement is that we used to be at 14 scholarships, and now we can go up to 28. So that's our roster cap. And we now have 24 scholarships. So I thought Terry did an amazing job of really upping that number, because a lot of the Big 12 schools, we shared informally, like, okay, what's your AD doing for you? What's your AD doing for you on a head coach's call? And I thought we were at the top as far as what resources we were going to have, and the bump that we got as far as scholarship opportunity and new scholarship opportunities. So yeah, will I have all this extra rev share on top of it? No, but I do have more scholarships. And for me, I like that, because I want to build a roster and have a deep roster, then maybe only have 16 scholarships. Like some schools only have 16 scholarships, but then they might have some rev share that they could just all, decide to give to one player. And I would rather build my roster on more players, better players, and have a deeper roster. And so that's available to me now. And so it's really great because I'm recruiting like our roster now. Like, so for this is crazy, but women's soccer, we recruit very early. So for 2027, I just got 2 more verbal commitments today. So 2 of the 4 kids that were visiting already committed, both committed today on the spot, like as they were leaving. Actually, one called me from the airport. I think she said she needed to call her mom first. But one kid's from Oregon. The other kid was a Floridian, but we have right now 6 kids committed for 2027 and only one of them from Florida. So Kansas, Oregon. So being part of the Big 12, has really expanded our ability to recruit outside of, I would say, the Southeast. So before it's been more Southeast, really focused on Florida, and then throw in some internationals and then transfers. But now that it's just, it doesn't matter. We're going all over the place. So we have 2 freshmen this year from California that are freshmen this season. So
that's crazy.
It's changed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, internationally too, right? So like one of the things that, how do you evaluate and reach those folks from a women's soccer perspective? Like, how are you reaching out to them? How do they know UCF internationally? Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
That it's interesting. So every international player that's played for us is just really a different story. But Tim and I have been recruiting internationally since our days back at VCU when we didn't know what we were doing, and we were learning on the job day by day. But it's always been part of our what we've done, and it's been we've built a reputation, and we have some credibility, and we've had international players that have played for us that have gone on to their national teams and then have played in World Cups. And, we had a player that went on to play for Real Madrid after being in part of our program. So we have been developing world-class players. And I think that's part of the draw for some of the internationals. So I think a lot of it is word of mouth. And then, a lot of them have, they have like their agents that are the middle people trying to find them homes in the US that, they are interested in their studies and playing. And so we just have developed a lot of relationships and connections, across the board with a ton of different countries. And so sometimes we just get a call and say, hey, I've got this Swedish kid. She's pretty legit. This is where she's playing right now. If we can go see them in person, we will. Now there's just so many resources, right, where we can like watch a lot of videos. And then also there's so many stats out there that we can pull a lot of metrics to really compare her maybe to someone on our team right now. So it's always a different story, but I just think over time, I think it's 18 years now, or not. I think we're going on our 19th season of college coaching. And so after almost 20 years, you just have those relationships, and we've developed a little bit of reputation. So it's been helpful.
Do they have, go ahead, Trey.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we obviously were big football people. So, and I played, so like the recruiting has shifted like upside down for football. It's gone from, where do I want to be developed as an athlete? Where do I want to be developed, academically? I know that was big for me, to how much money can you give me? How much publicity and how many, deals can I sign with this school? How is that with soccer?
Soccer?
Because I know it's completely different than football, but I know there's still some elements. I don't know how drastic. I mean, you hinted on it a bit. Some schools have 16 and keep the rest of it for those deals for a player versus you who's like, let me fill out a roster. How is that different? Like, don't give us your best pitch, but like, how would you pitch a girl to come to UCF? Not your, don't give the good one.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, what's different is, I think that there's some of those elite top women soccer players that have the mindset, where's the best deal?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's just like a few players and there's a few schools are playing that game.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully for me, like I'm not in that that game, and for a lot of reasons, but I'm pretty thankful because I still feel like we could be successful without playing that game right now. Now things might change. I mean, we can talk in a year and I'm going to be like, what was I thinking? You know, like, I need more money. Give me more money, you know? But right now, we sell the fact that we actually have the most. So in the Big 12, UCF, we developed the most pros. So we have 30 pros playing currently right now, and that's the most out of any Big 12 school. So that is a big sell. It's like you come to us if you want to be a pro because we're developing pros and our environment is as professional as it can get because 3 of your 4 coaching members all played professionally at the highest level. So
I was
we know what it
literally
looks
gonna say,
like.
it doesn't get any higher than what you played. I mean,
There's
Olympics,
not another
World
staff.
Cups, you know, I mean,
Yeah, there's not another staff in women's soccer and in all of women's soccer that can say that they have the same background as our current coaching staff with 3 out of the 4 of us. So, so that's what we sell mostly. And now that there are so many more opportunities for women to play after college, before it was like one league, NWSL, and top, right? And like you only get so many kids drafted. I mean, Bridget got drafted, but you know, it's just like this top elite crew are going to get drafted. We were lucky because we have the Pride in our backyard and I developed that relationship, so we could still kind of get a kid drafted here and there to the Pride. But now there's all these other leagues and the USL Super League, which is here in the US as well, but also internationally, there's all these leagues. And so there's just a ton of opportunities. And so those 30 players I was talking about that are playing professionally now, they're all playing all around the world. It's global. And not all, you know, not all playing at the top Division I league, but there's still opportunity for them. And so I think now that there's opportunity, you know, girls are going into college thinking, oh, this could be something that I could do, where, you know, maybe even 5 years ago, players weren't thinking about, oh, I want to go pro next. Only those elite group of kids. And, you know, and we weren't getting them. They were maybe going to UNC, you know, but now we're getting some of those players because we have something to show for it. So that's been great.
A lot more rejuvenated
in there too. You know what I mean?
What's that?
Softball's starting to hit that stride too, where there's a post college career that they can go play. So they've done a pretty good job of leveraging that as well. So I imagine there's a lot of opportunity there. And you know, I think you hit on something there where you said you're learning. I think that's the one thing that people forget. As crazy as this has been for all of us who are not doing this, you know, every day at work, you guys are getting hit with all these changes and all these rulings and all of these things. And yes, you have some more preparation and insight, but this is a whole new paradigm when it comes to something that's so important within the college sports and in recruiting. So
totally. Yeah. Like I mean, like I said, this is my 19th year. So our strategy's evolved over the years. But, you know, I've always been operating under 14 scholarships and there's a way to get to the 14. And now all of a sudden I have 24, but I have a 28 player roster. And I'm like, okay, like how many should I be recruiting? You know, and I need to make sure that I have enough spots for transfers because those have been our most impactful players, our transfers that can make an immediate impact. And we're trying to figure out what the best strategy is when you've been doing something for so long and doing it a certain way. And now it's completely changed. But we've always operated in equivalencies. You know, for football, it's head count, right? So it's like all or nothing, right? But for women's soccer, it's equivalency. So you could take the 14 and split those all up. Yeah.
Same way with baseball and softball, and they had half scholarships and things like
percentages, things like that.
Yes, right. So, but now, if I understand it correctly, I think like football is having to navigate what we've done our whole life. Like I think it's in percentages now. Like I don't think it's all or nothing.
Cut back from what I remember lately. They cut like there's no more walk-ons for football, which was like a big part for us too.
Right. You can have those like exactly.
A lot of just 90% of the walk-ons would be like really, you know, good scout team people. Now it's like, all right, I think it's 85 or 9. I don't remember exactly. Don't quote me.
Right.
But now you're trying to navigate, okay, we used to have like 120.
Right.
So there's a lot more bodies to keep guys healthy, give better looks. Now you're just everybody's on scholarship, which is great for everybody. But now with football, it's like, okay, well, who's going to be the guys that are giving the looks? Some of these guys we actually need to be developing for, a year or two now. Maybe they leave because we're making them, it's so much. It's a different world to navigate, it's so different. But
and
I think there's some kind of percentage there now.
Yeah. But you said the word,
I don't know.
Yes. You said the word developing. I feel like that is starting to like not be a thing anymore. Like I love that part of my job, and I want to hope that we can continue to do that. But the reality is, you see so many freshmen jump ship after 1 year. Thankfully, you guys, I can honestly say we have never lost a core player to the transfer portal. So our kids stay. That's something I actually sell all the time, because the kids that are going on the portal for us are kids that have been at the bottom of the roster that want to find the right fit where they're going to play right away. And I get it. And I want to help them and I want them to be happy. But we've never, I love the transfer portal because it's not a scary thing for me because we're not losing. We're not worried. Like once kids in our program, we're happy, they're happy, and we're not going to lose them to someone else. Again, I'm speaking of today. Who knows? People might be, pulling them away from us with their big money. But the transfer portal has just been awesome for us because we get good players out of them, but we don't lose our good players. So it's been all right. But the whole development piece is hard. I think that will change.
You're right, especially as it pertains to football, right? They come out. Well, one, I think everything got kind of messed up in 2020 when we had the COVID year, and there were extra people that were in the system, both football and all other sports that had extra years, right? So a lot of the kids coming out of high school, they were negatively impacted by that and didn't get as many opportunities. And then you had NIL come along, and now it's a unrestricted free market, I guess, is how the best way to say it. Even our economy, we like to say it's a free market economy, but it's not. It's a regulated economy, right? You didn't have that. So to your point, there was a lot of people transferring. I do think, though, that, and people don't realize this too, when it comes to the Olympic sports, when it comes to soccer specifically, the name brands that you're used to hearing are not necessarily the top name brands in those sports. I mean, even if you just look at our conferences and who plays in our conferences and is good year in it, you've got some G6 teams that people are like, oh, they have a great soccer team that are part of our conference as affiliate members in various sports. And, and they play there, and they're some of the top teams in the country. So if from your perspective, I know I have my own thoughts on this, but from your perspective, where would you rank UCF's brand within women's soccer right now? And before I say that, let me say this. Your name is a big part of that, and you being here for as long as you have been, I think, is a big part of that too. But where would you say UCF women's, obviously UNC is UNC, right? But where would you say we rank if you were to tier out?
Rank in what? Just in the Power 4 schools?
In Power 4 schools, would be tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. If we just say break it into 4, would that be a tier 2 brand or tier 1?
You guys, that's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, I sell it like we're tier 1. So,
well, it's changed. I mean, the opportunities and platform you've been doing have changed too, right? So,
as soon as, I would say when we were in the American, it felt different because how many times I've talked to a recruit and they were just like, oh, Coach Tiff, I'd love to play for you, but I'm really looking for a Power 4 school, and it was just banging my head. Yep. And I don't get those comments anymore. One kid this year said SEC or ACC, but I got one kid that said they weren't interested in talking to a school from the Big 12. So when we made the jump to the Big 12, for me, the way that I see it, that just made the big jump for us as far as our brand. Just being part of the Big 12 elevated us and our brand immediately. because of that, because it was really hard before that. And I like am seeing that there is a difference in our recruiting, and I don't see, like, when I'm talking to a kid and I'm saying, okay, who else are you talking to? I don't hear the same schools that I used to hear when I'm saying, who else are you looking at? You know, they'd be like other American schools sometimes. And I don't hear any other I don't hear American schools that I'm going up against. Now I'm going up against, how many times South Carolina gets brought up? I'm over it. But yeah, a lot of all Power 4 schools is like, mainly, yeah, maybe Ivies. You know, women's soccer players are smart, so I have to go up against the Ivies. But
nice.
But yeah, so I would say we're at the top now. Just being the Big 12 elevated us.
Yeah, so like you transitioned to the Big 12, right? So that we started, your first year was the first year in the American, right? And then we transitioned to the Big 12, and you had a pretty successful year to start, right? When you had that roster, what do you think the quality of player? Is there a big difference between the American in women's soccer? Obviously, football is its own thing, right? But for women's soccer, from the quality or skill set of the player, and they can be developed, is there a big difference in the leagues, do you think, for women's soccer? Because again, like SBC has some good schools. You know, the American, heck, Memphis did really, really well last year in men's soccer, you know, like,
yeah, and women's soccer. Memphis is always good. Yeah.
So people don't think of that about Memphis, but Memphis is a great soccer program.
Yeah.
So where would you say the quality of the player is? Is there a huge difference as there is in other sports as far as the quality of the player that's participating in the league?
I think overall, yes, there's a difference. You know, we just played 2 American schools to kick off our season. So playing UAB and then FAU. And I think they were preseason ranked at the top, on the top half. And we beat them both. And I would say that competition did not compare to what we go up against in the Big 12. So I'd say there are definitely very good players in the American that could play in any Big 12 school, probably. There's just not as many.
Right. The whole team. That makes
like the whole team. And it's like the whole team is athletic. There's just more depth. And just overall, there's more, each team has way more depth. And when your season is so short and very intensive, that depth is so important to your success. So, you know, I think that was always been a thing for us, is we have always a handful of special players, and you're going to go see them play at the next level after. But like, for it to be sustainable, like, you just need more of those. And I think in the Big 12, the teams just have a lot more depth and a lot more of those special players on each team.
So as we think about this season, so we talked about our inaugural season in the Big 12, right? But as we go into this season, last season wasn't what we all wanted, right?
No.
But we have more opportunity, new players. Who do you think let's start with the players. Who do you think do we need to be looking out for now, names that we should know that have transferred into the program or are being developed that we should know as the season kind of gets underway? Okay.
So she's already making a name for herself, Liz Warden. She's our center forward. For the soccer people, we have positional numbers. So a center forward is a 9. So we call her our 9. She started at Texas, was there for a couple of years. She went into the portal. I recruited her then. And she went to Long Beach State, and I was like scratching my head, like, come on. But she's from California, so I get it. But she went back in the portal. So we got her the second time around. So she's with us for her last year of eligibility, but she's already scored, one goal in each of our matches here, that have counted. And the first goal she scored was, on Sports Center top 10.
Yep.
She scored the Olympico. Trey, I don't know if you know that. When you score, when you kick a corner kick and it goes straight into the goal, it's called an Olympico.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah.
It's what did she like? It's like you kick that corner kick hook and it goes like
she hooked it and it went like
and
it like Beckham style, just like boom, like right.
It was beautiful. That's beautiful.
Like not the goalkeeper wasn't even anyway. It wasn't like a goalkeeper bobbling and it going in. It just like went right. But she strikes a ball like I've coached, some of the best players in the world on the national team. I've played with some of the best players in the world. And I've seen women that can strike a ball, and like she's at the top for me, like with some of the best in the world as far as how she can strike it, like hard, like it's crazy. Like I told our whole team, like when Liz strikes a ball, you all better be like crashing because that goalkeeper is not going to be able to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
So Liz Warden, then she scored again last night, a beautiful goal, and so she'll be one. Be in our starting lineup as center forward. So she should have a lot of opportunity to score a goal. Then we have another transfer from Washington State. She's originally from Arizona. Her name's Rahana Reed, and she goes by Ro. And she is very fast and very technical. I call her like a little street baller because she's a little bit just very deceptive. You don't know what she's going to do. She's very creative. Just a little bit unorthodox, but I love it. And so she didn't score she didn't score. I don't think she did score in our first game. She didn't score last night, but she was part of a goal that our first goal last night. She technically didn't get the assist, but she was the one who kind of ran and penetrated first. So so Rowe. And then, someone I want to talk about is Jada Sylvette. She's a center back for us. And in 2023, she was a freshman and she didn't play 1 minute. So she was a redshirt for us. And, you don't play, you might jump in the portal, but I was telling her like, just give it some time. Like you'll get there. And then last year she was redshirt freshman and she got a lot of time. She started majority of the games. Little bit of a learning curve. I mean, last year too, we had a lot of new players getting some of their first years under the belt. Now it's like second year and she already looks like she's grown so much. And it's like crazy. Like she seems like she's a senior to me right now. So her development is really surpassed like my expectations. And she was essentially like a walk-on when she first came to us. So, so that's another person just who I think you'll hear her name. Maybe she's not going to be scoring goals. She's our center back, but she's just going to be like a solid player that's going to play a lot of minutes for us. Mm-hmm. And we have the Swedish kid. You spell it Tyra. We just call her T because whenever we say Tira, she's like, you can't say it right. It sounds too American. So
are you not rolling your R enough? Is that what it is?
I'm like, I don't know. When you say it, when I say it, sounds exactly the same. She's like, no. But she is just strong and fast, and she's just a freshman. She's a 20-year-old freshman. So she's a little older, but there's our midfield's very deep. So you're going to see a lot of rotations in the midfield, which is what we need. Got a little Japanese player, super technical. She scored last night. She's really, really fun to watch. Her name's Honoka, but we call her Noki for short. We got a couple freshmen that were starting last night, which is kind of fun too. So we have a balanced team this year, like from freshmen to seniors and transfers, and pretty balanced team overall. But some of those freshmen are making an impact. Good to see.
I don't think people realized how many new members of the team were there last year, right? So I think that starts to pay dividends, this year, next year. That really starts to pay dividends for the team and their success. So, you saw it in bits and pieces last year, but I think I'm hoping that we get to see it come together this year a little bit more closely. Talk a little bit about your coaching style, right? So you're known to be very, very supportive of your teams, right? And in many ways, players coach, and that makes sense, right? You played. Not only did you play, but then you coached, and then you coached. You coached at a very, very high level as well, and then you're coaching here. So tell us, how do you connect with some of the players that's a little bit different than some of the other coaches that are out there, and they all want to play for you, and I think you spoke to it, they stay, right? So
Yeah.
what's different about that, and why do you feel that works for you as a head coach?
Well, I can't speak for what other coaches are doing out there, but for me, it's like, first of all, in the environments that I've been in as a player, I've been so lucky. I've had like the best coaches in the world coaching me. And so, through that career, I didn't know I wanted to be a coach, but, looking back, and I look at myself as a coach, I'm a little bit of all of my coaches who were all world-class coaches. So you learn a little bit about everybody that has made an impact in your life. And, I even think about my parents and how they helped me, how they were leaders in our family. And so you take a little bit of your family experiences, the people that have mentored you, your coaches, your teammates, because being on the national team, I was so young. So I was only 16. And the majority of my teammates were graduating college. And so my teammates were actually great coaches for me, because I was just looking up to these amazing women, just trying to hang on and be like them. And so they were teaching me. And so I really look back, so when I've been a coach, I look back and I've just been impacted and influenced by so many amazing people in my life that they've helped me so much, that I think my whole purpose in coaching is like, how can I do that for my players? Because I feel so lucky and I'm so appreciative for everybody that has helped me throughout my career. That is my purpose. Like, my purpose is to be in this job and help this group of women. And I love this age. Like, I love the 18 to 22. Like, I could talk to them straight up. Like, like little kids, I don't want to swear, and, they might not get my stories, or I can't like get into them the way that I want to. But women, like, I could talk straight up, female, like woman to woman, like, even though I'm older now, before I was a little closer in age, now I'm a little further apart because they stay the same age and I keep getting older. But now it's like, I could look at them through like motherly eyes. Like, I have this nurturing piece about me, especially since I've been raising 2 daughters, but I don't know, my whole purpose is like, I just want to help them. And I love seeing them succeed. When I was a professional soccer player, I'm like, geez, and you've accomplished your goals, you're like, what else am I going to do in my life that is ever going to match this feeling? Like, I'm screwed. Like, how else am I going to be satisfied? Like, what am I going to do? Like, how am my cup going to be filled? And I know it sounds kind of corny, but it is so true. Like, this fills my cup like the same way that when I was a player, actually in a different way and probably more satisfying way, because when you're a player, it's just so selfish. Of course you're a team and you're a teammate and you're thinking of others, but it's about you and making yourself the best you could be for your team. Or it's like, what did I eat today? How did I train today? Am I at my best today? Blah, blah, blah. And when you're a coach, you're not even thinking about yourself. Like, you're just thinking about everybody else. At least that's my philosophy. And so it's kind of nice. It's not about me. And yeah. And then I think what's helpful in my connection with my players is that I could really meet them where they are, and I can have a lot of empathy for every single role that a player has on this team, because I've been in that role. I've been the player who got left off of a travel roster on the national team. Thankfully didn't have to go through that in college, but I know what it feels like to get left off of a roster. I know what it feels like to get cut. I know what it feels like to be a starter. I know what it feels like to lose a starting position. I know what it feels like to get myself back on the team and win a starting position again. Like, I've played every freaking role. So it's like, when you know what that feels like, you're able to empathize with your players and connect with them and ask the questions and know that. And I think if they know that you can understand them, then you're going to connect with them.
Well, I think that that shows on the field too, right? So in football we talk about strain, right? And I think, you know, we've not been shy about saying that culture piece has been missing for a while. And I think Scott's one of his strengths is developing that, right? But that extra strain and that ability to build a team when you're in the tough situations or you're down a goal late in the second half or whatever, right? Being able to connect with the team and motivate them that way, I think that's a huge part of that is people understand if you're being real with them. They understand if you actually do care about them or what have you. So I think that's a huge differentiator for you. And just, you know, again, I haven't played for you. I played for many other coaches. I haven't played for you, right? But even
are you asking for a roster spot?
Yeah, absolutely. 44, I'm sure that I would be able to do that.
He might be able to fit into a kid. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it would have to be a large. That being said, no, I mean, genuinely speaking, though, having been been around sports my whole life too, like I totally get where you're coming from and saying that and being able to connect, because it does make a difference, especially in those difficult moments. So I've heard that time and time again about your teams throughout the years. It wasn't just recently, but throughout the years, about who you are for them as a coach. And I'm excited to see how that translates again this year. What's the biggest goal for you this year? Like what do you want to see? What, other than, yes, we want wins, right? But like, what's the biggest goal for your team? Where do you want to see them grow? What do you want them to be able to do? Is it better defense? Is it attacking? Is it, you know, being more fluid in their passing game? Like what is it that you want to see? What's the biggest goal for your team this year?
I don't know if I could actually just like pick it apart and say like that one area or that one phase of our game I'd like for it to be better, because I don't know, man. It's just my coaching. Like, it's just like, no, we got to be better. Like in every phase, we got to get better. And for me, it's more about like coachability and can they execute? And so we give them a lot of information. We do a lot of analysis. We do a lot of game review. I bet if you interview, you know, there's 350 Division I women's college soccer coaches. I don't think anyone does I'm sure there are a few that do the work that we do, but I bet, because a lot of them don't have the experiences that we have to do some of the stuff that we do. Because some of the stuff I just learned recently being on the national team staff. So basically, I don't know if I can really narrow it down to one area. I want us to be able to execute game plans, and I want us to execute like our game model. So just really getting down to basics, like can you be coachable and do what we're saying from the basics, fundamental, like game for us and UCF women's soccer. What is our game model, and can you execute that? Obviously, within that, there's going to be tactics, and depending on who we play, we're going to have to change things. But we have certain principles of play that I want to make sure that everybody can understand and execute. But if you want to make it super simple, we need to score a crap ton of goals and keep the ball out of the back of our net. Okay? For all you non-soccer people out there.
Keep it simple, stupid, right? They taught me that in engineering, the first class.
Yeah. But I want to be known as like a team too. Like we're known as like a team that has a pretty style. Like we possess the ball and we can keep it. We're comfortable and we're composed. But like I keep telling, like that actually was not the type of player I was. Like I was blue collar. Like that was like my weakness actually. So I love that we play that way because it was different from what I was. But I don't want them to lose the fact and not be above the blue collar. And so we're constantly having to find that balance. Me having to tell them like, no, we're going to kick ass and play that beautiful style football. But when we lose it, it's like we're mad dogs, getting after that ball, get the ball back. So we're constantly like preaching those two things because they're very different.
Josh, I want to be sensitive. I lied to Coach Tiffany. I said, "Hey, we usually go about."
I haven't even
30
looked at the
minutes, and
time, guys.
well, that's good. That means
Yeah, that's
that
good.
we
We're
haven't
having a good
bored
time.
you, and it's a good conversation. Yeah, we're rolling right up to 50 minutes, and I feel like I've been like monopolizing the time because for me, this is amazing, right? Like being able to talk to you this way, and having this opportunity for the first time. Again, you've spoken to me sparingly over the years, but never like this, right? So I appreciate it. And I have so much respect for you as a person and a player and a coach. So for me, this is a treat. So I want to stop monopolizing your time. And I'm going to ask Josh. I know he had a few questions, and I want to make sure to give you the opportunity to raise your hand because I know you guys are still in game prep. I would keep you on for 2 hours if I could, but that's just me. Josh, what questions did you have? Because I know you wanted to ask a few.
See, I have some, but the way this flowed so fluidly, it kind of feels like I'm interrupting the flow, right? We were just talking about the flow of a game and the flow of and so I really don't have too much more. I'd say this. So 2024 is over and your team is doing well now. Haven't really lost any game exhibition or otherwise. Kind of talk through what that looks and feels like from the end of a season to summer recruiting and how you thought this might be right now.
Yeah.
A couple months ago.
Yeah.
And where
such a good
you're
question.
feeling now.
Yeah. Such a good question. I'm glad that you asked that, Josh. So, after the 24 season, obviously we were not happy about that and things needed to get better. And I can go and it was a nut, like things were nuts, like hurricanes, like there are so many things I could say and it could be a ton of excuses. It was the craziest season I've ever been through, outside of just losing games, but it is what it is and something to look back on and learn from. But as soon as that season was over, I'm like, I can't live another season like this. This is not okay. So as soon as that transfer portal popped open, I mean, we went to work. So it was winter recruiting. We got to work. That's when we got Liz. That's when we got Rahana. We got a player from TCU, like Ainsley Moy. Like we got starters on our team, players that could help us immediately from that winter portal. So we worked very hard during that time and locked them up. And so what was so cool was that majority of our transfers came in January. And so we've been working as a team all spring. Mm-hmm. So it hasn't just been preseason. So a lot of these things that I'm telling you about, like learning the game model and executing like these principles of play, like we've been teaching this since January. And so that's why we're able to kind of pick up where we left off in April, because we already had a lot of this teaching. So now we've only implemented like 4 or 5 kids instead of 12 or whatever the number is. I can't remember the number. So that has made a huge difference. But so to go back, Josh, like, yeah, not happy with the end of the season. We need to get better, going to work, going hard in the transfer portal, getting immediate impact players. We knew that the positions that we needed to fill, we were able to do that. And then developed like, not just, I was telling about the soccer part, but like developing our culture again. And because we're coming off such a down season, but what was so cool was that the returners were so excited to like start over. Like, we're like, that sucked. Okay, let's start fresh. And they were like open arms, and the transfers that came in were so easily, like they trusted right away. Like they weren't waiting to see what happens. Like it was such like an awesome mesh of people, because the returners they wanted new players to come in and help. And then the new players were like, I'm here. Like, how can I help? And everyone just is gelled. So it was such a fun spring. And I think that has helped us translate into having, like I said, I'm up to, I know how sports go. So I'm definitely not on my high horse right now. I'm like excited. I'm happy. I'll take every win. But I feel like we really established a great like culture and what we want to do and what we want to be about. And you're seeing that, and I'm feeling it right now. And I keep telling them, guys, we haven't really had any controversy yet. So like, this is why we're doing these things and making sure that we're strong in our foundation, because you all know it's when things go south, it's like, how do we recover from that? How are we going to react to that? And I've been talking to them about it every day. I don't try to be like a negative Nancy, but I'm just like, okay, it's all good now, guys. You know, especially in preseason, you're not naming a roster. There's no starting lineup, and everyone's traveling in the beginning. And, you know, I'm like, people are going to get upset. But we actually talked about, I'll tell you, the big word was loyalty. Because I'm like, if like at any moment you want to transfer because you're not getting playing time or whatever it is, like, do not disrupt this team. Like, you come talk to me now. We'll let you know. So like, I was very strong in preseason, and we had a big talk about loyalty, just to kind of say, this is what it is. So if you're deciding you're going to be part of this program now, you're signing that contract with us right now, and you're with us to the end, no matter what. And so hopefully that helps.
So you're gelling within April and on. You have a couple of exhibition games where you're kind of figuring this out. Do you feel like you're now solidified or darn near close as a team, a roster, you know, what starting looks like, or within a little bit maybe wider because you have so many scholarships now? Is that where you're feeling so far, or not quite yet?
Well, like for the season, or just like as a program? Like, what do you mean?
Why not both?
Like, so as a season, it is so early. Like, it's crazy how, like, we started on the 29th of July and we played our first exhibition match on August 3rd. Like, you know, so thankfully majority of us were working together from January. But think about those new players. Like, one just got off the plane from Sweden. Like, she could barely train in the heat.
Culture shock.
Yeah, culture shock.
Yeah.
Heat, like, she almost passed out at her first training. So, yeah, so no, we're not there yet. That's why I'm excited, because I'm like, well, we're finding results, and like there's still a lot of work we still have to do, and we're finding a way to get a result. And we did the same thing in the spring. You know, when I said we didn't have any controversy, I say that because it was a spring and results aren't on the line, but we went down in a couple games in the spring, like UF, we came back and beat them, and we actually went down to Daytona State like early. Like, it was crazy. We ended up winning 5-2, but like we were losing 2-0 in like the first 10 minutes. Like, it was a crazy match. So for us to kind of go through that in the spring together with this squad was kind of cool, because we already got to experience being down and then having to come back. We did it against Miami in our exhibition. We ended up tying them 1-1, and we were down, but came back right within 5 minutes. So like, at least we've been able to like prove some of those things, but it's still so early. We're still working out a lot of things. I think that there are a few, like I mentioned Liz, like she's pretty much solidified that center forward spot. Like, no one's really touching her right now. So there are some core players I think are pretty solidified, but I think other than that, everyone's doing really well. So it's just a matter of rotating the roster and keeping people fresh. And if we do that all season long, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that will actually help us help us win.
So you're not the only coach at UCF that has a couple of positions they're not ready to name yet, as anything else in our football team. Well, let's talk about what's coming up, because we've talked a little bit about past, a little bit about present. There's 2 games coming up at home in the coming week. One against we call them the Cows here. Use whatever terminology if you'd like. Some of us have been around when we've been here a while.
Directionally challenged school from Southwest Florida.
Yeah, those green people over
Florida.
there. Yeah.
And a whole lot of different monikers for those folks.
Yes, yeah. And a purple team that's not ECU, actually. We're playing LSU coming up too.
Yeah.
So can you talk about like a little preview of those games as you can give them, and what your hopes and what you're expecting to see from the games? Maybe some people know a little bit more of inside soccer. Would that be worthwhile to share?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much I have to offer, but South Florida, there's always going to be a rivalry there. You know, we're not both in the American Conference anymore, but, you know, it's still the War of I-4, and there's still that
Do you feel that, Coach
competitive.
Tiff? Is there any, like, I know that you guys are professionals, right? So it's a little bit different, but
Yeah.
is there any of that you bring to that game with you? Does that matter a little bit more to you or no?
What? That just that
The win, beating them.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I definitely don't want to lose. I'll tell you, like, that's not okay. So, yeah, that's my expectation. So, it was a wild game last year. I can't get into it, but yeah, so like, I really feel like we have to take that one this Thursday. And yeah, I think, maybe the rivalry seemed stronger when we were both in the American, but I think, for our players, they all said they want to sweep every Florida team that we play. So all of we have many Florida teams that are out of conference. And so that's one of the team's goals, is to sweep the Florida team. So, South Florida's, next. So that's who's, that's who's on the chopping block. So, as far as like, what's crazy is the early part of, I don't know how it is for football, but for us in the early part of the season, it's really hard to do scouting reports because we don't have enough film on them yet. So we have to upload our games for anybody to be able to watch. And so we have 2 games on them now, and that's it. So like when we played UAB, we had 0 games to scout off of. So you just scout off of what you saw last year. But like, if anyone's watching us, we're completely different than we were last year. Yeah, maybe the philosophy of the game was a little different, but like personnel is going to be a little bit different. So yeah, so the South Florida game rivalry, the team's going to see as a rivalry. They're going to see it as, they're one of our Florida teams that we'd like to sweep. That's one of our goals. We've talked a lot about, I'm kind of going more general, more than just USF and LSU, but it just made me think about our goals we're really taking the out of conference portion. Like, we've really split it into 2, like mentally, and discussed, like, we're not even talking about conference yet. We're only talking about out of conference. And we won't only talk about the Big 12. So out of conference, what are our goals? And even as a Big 12 conference, we've all discussed about what our duties are to the conference. So we need to end out of conference with a winning record. We have to go in minimum 5-2, but I'm hoping like 6-1 at the minimum. 5-2 might be okay still, but like minimum 6-1. And so the team knows that. I don't like to talk about results too much. I think it causes too much stress.
Pressure.
But but we have to like lay it out in the beginning and say it, and then we kind of don't talk about it anymore. But they know what the plan is. That is what we need to do, and all the teams within the Big 12. Because when we play each other, we all want to come in playing each other with a winning record, so that our conference just becomes super strong, right? And so we all have that duty to the conference, and we've all discussed that as head coaches, and the team now knows. And so anyway, so that's a little look into just out of conference, Josh. But USF, the rivalry is going to be there, and LSU will be interesting. We haven't played them a few years. We do often play them, but it's been a few years now, and we've always had a great games. That's why we continue to play each other. I think, the coach there, we have a lot of respect for one another, and it's usually a great match. And so, so we're just looking forward, but I don't have a lot of information on them yet, because we got to wait. Well, for LSU, we'll watch their game on Thursday, but yeah.
So I didn't even see that when you're talking about the off season. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, no, that's the expansion. 5 teams from Florida. I just noticed that. It's through September 11th. They're like, after LSU, it's Florida, FIU, North Florida. Yeah, UNF. I'm sure it's purposeful to both minimize travel and try to keep things within state.
It's the first time. It's really the first time that our schedules look like this. But after going through, the Big 12 is just another beast, and your travel and what you're doing, you're like all over the country now. Like, you don't feel like you need to go do one of these big trips with the team, because you're getting that done already in conference. So we already have so many great teams in Florida. Like, let's just try and hit them up and beat all those teams and get ready for conference. So
and people forget you guys are flying commercial, right? So it's
yeah,
not it's not
it's not luxurious.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sometimes not direct either, we're having a layover. So yeah.
So I imagine like Manhattan, Kansas, and
Hard.
Lubbock,
Stillwater.
Texas, and
Yeah.
Stillwater, and yeah.
There's a few of those. There's a few of those are going to be fun. Cincinnati's nothing, but a few of those.
Oh, they have the worst field, though. They have the worst field. Like, we hate going there.
Roger,
turf, it's horrible. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, turf sucks. I played on turf. It's better now than it was when I was playing, but turf sucks. I was just going to say, you just have to fly into a whole different state to get into Cincinnati. So, Cincinnati's airport's in Kentucky. So you still have to drive 35, 40 minutes to get into the city. So, Josh, what else did you have? We're running up right at an hour and 5 minutes. So
I'd say the last thing I was going to say was, so a lot of us are fans of lots of sports. What's the best way viewers, anyone who's a UCF fan, can support you, the team, and in everything that you're doing?
Really, I mean, number one is to come to the games, to be there, show up in person. And if you're around, I mean, I think if you're not a fan of women's soccer, don't know about it, I think once you get out there, you'll be, hooked and pleasantly surprised. Like, even the Orlando Pride, like they've done so well, and their fan base is growing stronger, and they're winning championships. So just coming out to see a women's soccer game, I think it'd be hooked, and it's family friendly. It's all different types of people at our games, and but the student athletes work so hard. It's like they deserve it. All the student athletes, right? They all work the same amount, right? We're all supported in different ways, but just to have fans out there actually makes a huge difference. And that's something that, like, in the Big 12, it's hard. Like, you go play at BYU, like, it's hard to win there because of the fans. And we would love to have an atmosphere like that, to where that is what's helping us get over the edge, when it's a tough game, because there are a lot of schools in the Big 12 that have that. And I still think we need a lot of work to do, to get more fans at our games. And so, that's, and then obviously if you follow all of the social media outlets, then you would fall in love with the team anyway, just they're just awesome humans and cool gals, but yeah.
Oh, hopefully the next time you see Waco is at the championship game. So that is all in was a Fort Worth for a couple of rounds, and I think the finals in Waco. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, we will see.
All right, Coach Tiff, thank you so much for the time. This is not hyperbole. Like, literally, I could talk to you for probably several more hours. And I know that I've already got like probably 10 questions in my head that I would ask you, but
we could do part 2.
If you're open for it, especially during the game, I would more than happy to have you back anytime that you have the time, because I know
anytime.
You guys awesome. And we just really appreciate what you're doing. You've been an amazing representative for UCF. We're blessed to have someone of your caliber to lead the team and the program, as well as your husband. As you mentioned earlier, he's a big part of that too. He's been there every step of the way. And if there's any way that we can support you, obviously we will. I do travel to Orlando every couple weeks, and I usually stop by for a game. As often as I can, and bring my daughter with me. So we appreciate you, and this has been so much fun, and the conversation we had beforehand. I'm excited about having you back, and thank you again so much for giving us this time, because you're not just a rock star as a UCF coach, but you're a rock star in the world of soccer. And
thank you.
I hope UCF fans that are watching and listening, if your eyes weren't open to that, they should be.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. It was awesome.
It's our pleasure. Thank you again, and we will have you back whenever you have the time. So you let us know. You've got our email.
You got it. Josh is my neighbor. He'll hit me up.
I wasn't going to put that out there.
It's all good.
Josh.
It's all good. I thought I heard Maverick over there.
All
right.
right. Coach, thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.
All right. Take care, guys.
Go Knights.
Charge on.
Wow. What a blessing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Truthfully. We are truly blessed to have Coach Tiff as a member of our coaching pantheon, for lack of a better term. She's been here the longest head coach.
I think the men's and women's golf coaches have been here like a year earlier, but it's of the top three, definitely.
And lots of people that don't follow, lots and lots of wins at UCF, conference championships. Just an excellent program. So we are extremely blessed to have her, and extremely blessed to have her here. And it's just the most, from a personal standpoint, if you ever get to meet her, whether you're at an event or anything else, go talk to her, because she's just an amazing human being. Yeah. Humble for who she is, and a great coach as well.
Yeah.
All right. All of that being said, let's go ahead and swim it. An hour and 11 minutes in.
Swim.
I swear I could have gone at least 2 to get into some UCF football. So as we march to the season, we've been kind of telling you guys and talking with you, and Alan's been doing a great job of previewing all of the different position groups. Last week we had an excellent one. We got lots of comments about it as well. And this week we continue that march to the season with running backs and the quarterbacks. So without further ado, Alan, I'm going to let you take the stage, because
Roger's been talking a bit, but it flowed so well. I couldn't interrupt that. That was great. So Alan, why don't you and not Trey talk about quarterback?
No, Coach Tiff was great. Sorry, I didn't have much to contribute there, but let's get into football.
Is that one of the sports that you watch?
I mean, I don't want to say anything when we just had a person as a guest on.
No,
I care about all
basketball and football. We know it's
basketball and football.
Watch Sports Center's top 3. That was a phenomenal goal, and then.
Hey, I just learned a bunch in the last hour from you guys, so there you go.
Even more reasons to watch. All right. We're going to turn you yet. All right. Alan, why don't you go ahead and get us started on the running backs and the quarterbacks?
Yeah, so running back, starting there, I think we talked about this a bunch of times. It feels like going on like half a decade now. The running backs have really been the best position group on the team, or at least on offense. I mean, dating back to before Frost, dating back to Kevin Smith in 2007, it doesn't feel like we've ever skipped a beat in the running back department. We've always had a star. We've always had depth, and that hasn't changed this year. Obviously, there was a little bit of turnover, losing RJ Harvey, arguably top 2 running back, top 1 in some people's opinion in school history. Losing him definitely hurts. And then on top of that, you lose a guy like Johnny Richardson, who's been in the program for 4 years. And then Penny Boone. So some big losses there, but Miles Montgomery returns. I think we all saw the promise of Miles. He missed a couple of games due to a leg injury last year, but when he played, he looked good. I mean, he was able to not only get it done rushing, but can also catch the ball out of the backfield, played a little bit in the slot, had a couple really exciting plays in the first few games of the season last year, had 4 total touchdowns, just a hair under 300 yards. So he's kind of the favorite right now we're looking probably at a 1A, 1B situation with maybe Miles, the returning back, redshirt senior now as kind of the 1A. We know his speed. He just dealt with injuries, even dating back to Cincinnati when he was behind Jerome Ford there, who's in the NFL now. Had injuries, but he's fully healthy. Coach Frost already talked about that heading into fall camp. He's been healthy since the summer. So that's a great thing to see. And we know what he can do. He's been a little bit limited, and he's been behind RJ Harvey. So you can't really judge him fully yet. And he should be flanked by an exciting transfer, Jaden Nixon, who formerly was in our conference with Oklahoma State originally, but then transferred over to Western Michigan and immediately became a star. Last year, in his first year there, was all first team in the MAC. He had just a hair under 1,000 rushing yards, had 12 touchdowns, really was dynamic in his first season there, and then decided to come back to the Big 12 and head over to UCF. And we needed another transfer just with the losses we had. We had some depth, but it's very young depth. So getting a guy like Jaden Nixon, who's been in college now for 3 years, is all first team in the MAC. That was a big pickup, and he's looking really good. And he's not just a running back. He also can do kick returns as well. Right now, I think he's slated to be the starting kick returner. So the guy's got blazing speed, really, really versatile back. So he's going to be playing both running back and kick returner, possibly punt returner for UCF as well. So I think that's a really dynamic duo. You can never replace someone like RJ Harvey, but we have power in numbers, power in depth, which we usually have at running back. It hasn't changed for a decade now. Jaden Nixon has already been named to a bunch of preseason watch lists. Phil Steele, Big 12 second team, Maxwell Award watch list, Doak Walker Award watch list. So really all of the top kind of running back and offensive preseason award watch lists, he's on them. So there's a lot of excitement there, especially after the year he had at Western Michigan last year. And then behind them, we got some really young, exciting talent. First of all, we have Tavion Swint, who, if you recall, was the highest rated recruit in UCF's 2025 class, 4-star, had offers from a ton of huge schools, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, you name it, played over at Osceola High. And I don't know if he'll play this year, but he's got the goods to potentially play this year. So I think go ahead.
We did get an injury update on Tavion.
He was out for the game, right? Or for the
he had a meniscus issue. And it was a non-contact injury. Scott Frost gave an update on that today. Said Tavion did have that addressed and will more than likely be available about midway through the year. So Tavion Swint will be available for us to use in the backfield if there's an opportunity for him. He's also someone that was listed nationally as the top impact freshman for the Big 12 as well at the running back position as well. So Tavion Swint's got a lot of talent. 5'10", 185 pounds, and he's going to be somebody who you'll know for a very long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement around him. And like you said, kind of freshman watch lists and things like that. So there's a lot of excitement there. And then let's not forget about Stacey Gage. This is a guy that was also a 4-star recruit in the 2024 class. And he's put on a lot of weight in the offseason. He's up to 210 pounds, 5'11". Wow. He played, he's a big dude. He played at Powerhouse, St. Thomas Aquinas. He was really, really well known in high school. He was a top 50 player in the state of Florida, top 30 running back in the country. He ended up redshirting for UCF last year for obvious reasons. We had RJ Harvey. But I think he can start playing this year. He's really, really talented. If you look at some of his tape, he was absolutely dominant at St. Thomas Aquinas. He's just a really well-rounded player. And he put in some work on the offseason, really bulked up a lot. He played in the playoffs, the high school playoffs, had a ton of different offers from schools all around the country. So you talk about those 4 guys, there's a lot of depth there. So, God forbid there's any sort of injury or anything like that. We definitely have both, I think, a good mix of veterans when you talk about Nixon and Montgomery, and then 2 young guys in Swint and Gage. Swint, obviously, like you said, Roger, will miss some time to start the year, but there's I think a lot of excitement. Like, you kind of knew what you had with RJ Harvey last year, but I kind of like this where you have 4 really dynamic backs and any one of them can contribute. And I think for me, out of all the positions on the team outside of defensive line, I think this is the one I'm by far the most confident, especially on offense when you talk about having a brand new offensive line, brand new quarterbacks, brand new receivers, brand new tight ends, running back. There's at least some familiarity with Montgomery and Gage. And then you have two exciting guys coming in Nixon and Tavion Swint. So I like this running back room a lot. And I think it has a lot to offer, and it's going to be really versatile. And I think at times when you're kind of going through a new quarterback and all that, I think UCF will be able to lean on the ground game, which they did a lot over the past few years. But I think this year that will be even more helpful as they're breaking in a lot of new players across the rest of the offense.
Especially with mobile quarterbacks, right? No matter what, Cam Fancher is the least mobile of the three that are in contention, but he is still mobile. So being able to give different looks with the running game and being able to cycle those guys in and out when we need to, when we want to go fast, is important. We saw Miles Montgomery get hurt last year. RJ was slowed down a little bit last year. So, having someone like Stacey Gage waiting in the wings, he's a bruising back. He can carry a load. He went to the RJ Harvey School of weightlifting. And I don't know if you've seen, we're not like some of the FSU fan sites out there that are going to be looking at people's evaluating a player based on their physique without their shirt on. But he's to your point, he more than bulked up. And from what I've seen and some of the tape that I've seen on him, he hasn't lost that much speed. Typically, when you bulk up like that, you lose some explosiveness, you lose some of that speed. And he's had a year in the system. So I'm really excited about Stacey Gage. Yes, Jaden Nixon's exciting. We haven't had the ability to have any of those guys. We've had mostly transfers coming in and taking the spots. But I think Stacey Gage is one, and obviously Tavion when he's healthy and gets a little bit more experience. Those two names, those are going to be guys that could A, carry the load in the future, and B, contribute this season. At least Stacey Gage for sure. Tavion, we'll see how it goes after his meniscus surgery, how he recovers. But yeah, really, really excited about the running back room. When we were talking about defensive line, we were talking about, okay, is this the best position group on the team? And we said, oh, hey, there's the running back room too. So I don't know. I don't know which one is better, to be honest. Both of them are extremely, extremely good.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, I think might be a little bit more known commodities on the defensive line coming back and even just in the portal, but there's no lack of talent in the running back room. And it's interesting. I always look at all these different stats and stuff at UCF, and you look at, by far DB and wide receiver has historically been where we've had the most NFL draft picks, the most NFL undrafted free agent signings. And you look back at wide receiver, and it's, we talked about it last week, it's not historically as strong as how it's been like in Trey's day and before that. It's tapered but running back has just been consistent, kind of beast player after beast player. I mean, really every single year, even in down years, last year, 4 wins, whatever it is, we always have a strong stable of running backs, and it's been going on. I mean, if you just think of from Frost's first era to now, how many of those guys were studs? I mean, Killens and Otis Anderson and Taj McGowan. Oh, way before Storm Johnson.
Latavius Murray. I mean,
Kevin Smith. I mean, there's William Stanback. I mean, it's just the room is. It's you don't see a ton of our running backs go pro. I mean, out of those, there's been 3 or 4 maybe compared to wide receiver, but in college, we just continue to have extremely deep running back rooms, and it's cool to see that because it's an exciting position, obviously.
Well, I mean, you even have players like Storm Johnson who played in the Canadian League, and honestly, he was projected in rising up the draft boards before he had a personal mistake that he made that kind of threw his whole draft off. But these guys, honestly, we've got talent there, and the big thing is we've got depth, and it's a little bit different than what it was before. And Nixon, he's got speed too. So you have a question on here, Nixon or Monty. I'm just going to say I think it's Monty all the way as the starter, but you obviously threw that question in there for a reason. What do you think, Alan? Is it going to be Nixon or Monty?
I do feel like the buzz, just from everything I heard, is around Montgomery. But I think you saw it every year under Frost. I mean, Trey, correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the running backs got a lot of play. I mean, all of them did. I mean, you think even the years where like Greg was the number one back, it doesn't mean Adrian Killens didn't get a lot of carries. It doesn't mean Otis Anderson didn't get a lot of carries. Taj McGowan got a lot of carries. Bentavious Thompson got a lot of carries.
Yeah.
So we could have 3-4 running backs, and Frost finds a way to utilize them, even if one is a little bit more dominant or a little bit more in that RB1 traditional kind of 3-down role. He's finding ways to use them. So even if Montgomery is a starter, I don't think you brought in an all-conference player like Jaden Nixon, who's a redshirt senior, to sit the bench. This isn't going to be like a Penny Boone situation, who very similar, was all-conference first team at a group of 4 school after transferring from a power 4 school and then didn't play at all. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think Nixon is going to play a lot, especially because Montgomery isn't RJ Harvey, who can kind of dominate, all the downs there. So I do think it will be Montgomery, but I think it's a 1A, 1B situation.
Yeah, I think last year you saw a lot of 11 personnel, right? And with the theory being that it's 21 personnel because you've got a running quarterback. But I think Scott Frost played a lot of 21 personnel, which basically means 2 back sets, in his first tour here, which with our quarterback situation, you're really talking about 3 potential runners at any given point without even doing a jet sweep or something like that. You could set 2 guys back there. That helps with the blocking from a tight end scheme perspective. It allows a tight end to leak out if we need them to. So that opens up a lot of doors. And our success rates when we had 2 back sets were way higher. As I used to do these statistics, I still have the spreadsheet when I was on Nightline. Our 2 back sets, they were way more successful than single backs or I formations or any other type of formation that you could have with a single back. So I'm excited about that. And having 2 guys there, that means, and Stacey Gage as a third, that means that we have the ability to run those 2 back sets and not have to worry about if one of them goes down. Knock on wood, God forbid, we can still have that 21 personnel if we wanted to, and not suffer. So
yeah, and even it's really rare to see, just across football in general, just to see the workhorse running, like the RJ Harveys that get pretty much every touch out of the running back room, and you just squeeze the juice.
I think Bowser before him, right?
Yeah, and like the year before that, Ollie Gordon. I know he kind of fell off, but like where they just ran him until if they didn't work, we're running him again. That was the offense. It's rare.
He wasn't running very well against UCF. Yeah. I'm just saying he got space.
He's actually looking pretty good on the Dolphins. I'm not gonna lie.
But, yeah. I mean, he was a good running back. They had a terrible offense around him.
Exactly. But it's rare that you see guys that just dominate the touches. I mean, everywhere is pretty much a committee, mostly because I know with Coach Frost, at least, he wants guys with different skill sets, because that's like you talk about the 2 back set. You could have 2 running backs in Adrian Killens and Otis Anderson, but they both were just as capable as receivers. Whereas, with Gus, Bowser wasn't really that receiver type of back. Like, you knew he was into.
No, he was a goal line back that was basically going to. He was refrigerator
football, which there's a place for him. We had him. I remember that year, Cordero Richardson. He was like 240 freshman. Like, he was our bowling ball type guy. But like Coach Frost loves the versatility across all the positions. Jordan Akins moved to tight end. He was a receiver for 2 years before. Like, that's just what he liked.
Atkins, come on.
Yeah. And then like a guy I know, Alan, like Marlon Humphrey. Like he was a 6 foot 220, like a bowling ball at receiver. He was fully capable of taking jet sweep. Like, that kind of versatility is what Coach Frost wants, because that's how you find mismatches. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, like mismatch hunting in basketball. Well, that's kind of what football is you want to get your best players on their worst players. And how do you do that? You get guys that have a versatile skill set. And I think that's what our running back room traditionally, like you said, from Coach O'Leary, you go to Storm Johnson, who is a lot elusive, could run with power, very elusive. Then you bring in Stanback and all those guys. You could just mix and match different kind of guys. So I think that's what he's going to aim for.
So if you were to throw a grade on there, Alan, what do you think the running back room's grade would be?
I mean, last year I gave it an A. This year I would say A minus. I just don't. I don't think you can call RJ Harvey the number 1 or number 2 back in school history, remove him, and then say it's as good, right? I mean, if Jaden Nixon or Miles Montgomery end up having an RJ Harvey type year with 1,500 yards and 20 plus touchdowns, I may change my tune there. But A minus is good. I mean, that's I think the only A I'd give to any position group on offense. Everything else has been kind of a B or lower in my opinion. So just when you talk about the returning production, the new production we're gaining, and then the exciting kind of freshmen and redshirt freshmen we have on the team. I mean, it's back-to-back classes now where the highest rated recruit was a running back with a Swint and Stacey Gage. So back-to-back years of a 4-star running back. So I just think there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of talent pound for pound. I mean, obviously there's only whatever it is, 4 or 5 running backs on the roster, but pound for pound, I think it's by far the best group on offense. So I'd give it an A minus.
All right. Awesome. We were going to talk about the quarterbacks this week, but I think that we should probably hold on the quarterbacks just simply because Coach Frost still has not named a quarterback. He did make some comments in his presser that we'll talk about a little bit. But I think let's hold that for next week as we get a little bit closer to the season, because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the quarterback situation and who we think is actually going to be leading the team. That being said, let's go ahead and talk about some other football related items and Swivet. Swivet. So we'll start with preseason NFL updates. RJ Harvey scores his first career NFL TD in last weekend's preseason game and looked good doing it. He displayed the vision that we've been so, Okay, so Josh just put a comment in here in our private chat that he said, I can be tight on my stuff. So I'm just going to leave that out there. That being said, RJ Harvey, amazing, vision on that play. So love that. Trayvon Morris Brash, another 4-star local kid that was an All-American coming out of high school. He continues.
He's been doing great.
He had a sack, a broken pass broken up, and 3 tackles last game. So that's super exciting as well. All right, Josh, no, I did not mute you. You muted yourself if you are muted. So I'm just going to put that out there. Let's go ahead and talk about Swivet again and talk a little bit about the Big Ten's proposal for a playoff. They came out this week and proposed a 28-team playoff, proposing elimination completely of the title games. This proposal would give 5 automatic bids to the Big 12, which is a little crazy, which definitely, I mean, you can imagine where we were in the American before, right? Now they're talking about a 28-team playoff. So I'd love to hit or hear what your guys' takes on a 28-team playoff is and eliminating title games. What do you guys think?
Well, when the Big 12 takes like 4 people from the ACC when it collapses, why not? Now, this is completely a play from the Big 10 to show how ridiculous the idea is of that, and get people back to 16 and get people back to the 4-4-2-2 and the rest of them.
Yep.
That seems to be what it is. And honestly, listen, most championship games of the Big 10 and SEC are at this point not needed. Like that's not going to help them do anything for these playoffs. So I kind of like the idea of thinking of this in a deeper manner. I also want to think of Coach Frost saying, you have families that are doing stuff. This isn't just the players who are probably not as students as they once were anymore. So I like the idea of trying to see what might work. Listen, why don't we just do 64 and be like every other, division and have an actual bracket and actually have Cinderellas and just
that would pretty much almost guarantee every Power 4 school would make it. You know what I mean?
That's what they're trying to do. Let's be real here.
All right, Alan, what are your thoughts? And then Trey, from a player's perspective, that would obviously lengthen the season, probably eliminate a lot of bowl games. You know, a lot of the buzz the last few years have been about how many needless bowl games are out there and that they're just money makers for advertising dollars for ESPN. So obviously, you know, that would make those games more meaningful. Do either one of you think, if this were to come into fruition, would this be a good thing? And from a player's perspective, Trey, what do you think?
No, I mean, 28 teams, that's absurd. I mean, this isn't basketball. I think, well, first of all, I don't like that the conference title game keeps getting pushed and pushed out. I mean, that's a tradition. I mean, yeah, call me whatever, traditionalist or whatever, but I like the conference title game. I still think it should have meaning. I mean, you're talking about the two best teams in the conference playing for, you know, who's the best team in the conference. I know that non-conference title winning teams are still going to make the playoffs, but I like, you know, the auto bid if you do win. Look, if you can make it to the conference title game, and even if you have, let's say, a subpar record, but you beat, you know, the best team in the conference in a game straight up, like, I think it should matter. I think it should hold some weight. And 28 teams, I mean, so what? That's like a little over a third of the Power 4 teams. I mean, it's absurd. I mean, if you want to get it up to 16, sure, that's 4 extra teams, but 28 I think is ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, the meaning, if it means like getting rid of some of the meaningless bowl games or something, I guess that would be one advantage. Because yeah, I think the Cure Bowl and the Boca Raton Bowl and all these are kind of absurd and ridiculous, and most players are now, especially if you have an NFL future, you're opting out, for which I don't blame you. Why wouldn't you opt out if you have a guaranteed NFL future and your team is 6-6 playing for the Cheez-Its Bowl? I think it's okay to pass on it. So I'd rather
if it's the Pop-Tarts Bowl, you're going to play.
Besides that one, but yeah, besides the Pop-Tarts Bowl, that's an exception. But yeah, no, I think it's ridiculous. I'd rather it almost stay at 12 or be at like 8 so that the conference title game matters. I mean, there's all this talk of, you know, regular season games meaning less and less. And that's the cool thing about college football, is that every game meant so much. Like, losing one game in a season where you have really high expectations feels like a gut punch and like your season is over. Your margin for error shrinks so much, which makes it so much more exciting and so much more like every game so much more palatable. So I don't like going away from that model. I mean, you talk about like the NFL when 8-8 teams are, you know, making the playoffs, which is fine if they earned it. And you saw the Giants win the Super Bowl at 8-8, but it's just like, I don't think that's should be the model in college, in my personal opinion.
All right, Trey, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, like, college football is different than college basketball in the sense, like, Cinderellas are a lot more prevalent. Cinderellas are a lot more, like, it's more feasible in basketball, at least just what I've watched. Like, most of the times, you know, the top 5-10 teams that are true, like, these are the class of college football. Like, there's never been a time where the 28th best team in the country, you felt they could win a national championship. Like, that's just, in my opinion. I think even, like, I'd say that the best years of our UCF history, we were still a top 10 team. Like, you're a top 10 team in the country. So I just think stretching it out to 28, like, it's just a money grab. I think from the Big Ten and perspective, it really would just be to flex their power to be like, okay, yeah, 5 bids here, but what, it'd be 7 Big Ten teams, 8 Big Ten teams, 10 SEC teams. Like, it wouldn't, that's what it would end up shaking out.
I think they said 7, 5, and 5, and then G5 spots, and then
like that's
2.
I mean, and then that kind of what Alan was hitting at, the most important thing is like, well, why play the regular season? Like, 11-1 used to be like, you might not make the playoff. Like, that was you almost had to run the table to get a shot. I mean, we had to before we even got in conversation, we had to win 26 something straight games to do it, you know, and that was just to get in the talks with it. You're essentially you're gonna have teams 8-4, 7-5 making the playoff. Like, I think there's a stark difference with that versus, Alan, you talk about the NFL. Like, yeah, an 8-8 NFL team can go on a run because those are professional athletes. Most of the time, a 6-6 college football team, you're going to have 18-year-old, 19-year-old. Like, you're a middling – that's an average team. Like, that's not the pros. That's the difference to me. So I don't like it just because, again, you take out the meaning of every Saturday where, especially when you get in the conference, like, we always knew if we won conference, we had a shot to play something, So that goes into the taking away the conference championship. Like, what's the point at that point? It's just going to be who has the best eye test, which I'm big on the eye test, but like, it's going to be SEC, Big Ten lean bias. Like that's just a part of it. So I'm big for the games on Saturdays, and don't take that away. Don't minimize those games because then we're just going to be playing a numbers game.
Yeah.
All right. We can talk some more about that. I think that one's pretty much dead in the water. Anyway, I think the Big Ten just simply was putting that out there, to Josh's point, to kind of push the narrative around the 16-team playoff. I'm not necessarily opposed to it, to be frank, because if it only gives the SEC and Big Ten 2 more teams in the playoff guaranteed, that's better than what the current proposal is. And I think, as I'll keep saying this, 2030, the reworked or revamped A8 or ACC comes into fruition. I think that the Big 12 has an opportunity to take up more spots there. But for now, I think that's just a dead deal, but it's a way to drum up conversation. All right, so SI, so Sports Illustrated, put their prediction out this week. They said UCF was going to be 4-8 overall, 2-7 in the Big 12, by far the most conservative. Their L's include North Carolina, Kansas State, Kansas, maybe the bye. No, just kidding. Baylor, Houston, Texas Tech, and BYU, with wins coming against Jacksonville State, North Carolina A&T, West Virginia, which is interesting, considering what they did last year, and Oklahoma State. So we'll get some more into the schedule in the future, but it's interesting to see as that goes along. Remember, with the first game coming up, we are going to coordinate our T-shirts again. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on the What Fans Wear that has already been published, and they'll do that week to week. I know some people don't like it. I tend to like it, and I think it's good for merchandise sales, so I'm all about that. And lastly, on football news, the Big 12 payout. So there was an article about the Big 12 and how it is going to pay out $500 million this year, and with some new media deals and advertising deals that they've put into place, going to pay out an average of $50 million, which would be more than what the ACC is, even though the ACC's technical payout from ESPN is slightly higher. And then we were due to catch up because typically it's an average over time, with it starting lower and then raising up each year. But $50 million for UCF would be a pretty good boon just for advertising revenue, et cetera, not to mention NCAA tournaments and everything else. So $50 million would be a pretty good payout for UCF. Head coach Scott Frost had a pretty comprehensive interview that he had this week, and a couple things that came out of that. He addressed the playing 3 quarterbacks, because it was asked, and he said that's pretty much a non-starter. You may see 2, one have the other. He gave the update on Tavion Swint. Also, Day Farmer, there was an update on Day saying basically that he will more than likely be available later on this year. So that's a pleasant surprise, considering what we talked about from the wide receiver side. Quarterbacks position, it's still up for grabs, so we'll talk about that more in depth next week. As far as injury notes are concerned, because remember, this year now the Big 12 requires everyone to report injuries, so you're seeing this more now. Cole Kozlowski, who we were expecting a lot out of, is rehabbed and back in full swing. Isaiah Reed is still nursing, and Caden Peening, who we also talked about on the tight ends, is still nursing, but he should be back later this season. Other than that, he did mention that Jakuri, he said he's made a lot of progress over the past 7 months, and he would have loved to have him 3 out of the 4 years. And I guess we'll cover some of the rest of this stuff again as we get closer to the season. But I encourage you to check out that. Quentin Joyner is out for Texas Tech, their number 1 starting running back with an ACL tear this year. And with that, and in lieu of the time that we have left because of the great interview that we had with Coach, we're going to go ahead and swivot yet again and roll into a little bit of listener love. So there it is. All right. So let's talk a little listener love. The comments were on fire this week, so make sure you're interacting. Remember, like, subscribe, share, and most importantly, comment. We respond to each and every single one of those. Sometimes you're correcting us. Sometimes you're saying a great job. But the more of that happens, it helps us reach a wider audience. So at Wander Knight said, Day Farmer signed with West Virginia before transferring here, not FSU. Yes, that was my mistake. Madame Boutique says Frost, frequent, both of them being frequent commenters. So thank you. Frost actually gave an update on Day. He should be back later this season. At Charles Spoolin 7302 says nice review from last week. So great job, Alan, as always. We appreciate that. And then Wander Knights comes back, says Virginia Tech, not Virginia. Let's not confuse the rivals. I forgot the Tech. So thank you for correcting me on those. And then as far as new subs are concerned, welcome Charles Poulin. So I hope I'm saying your name right. I apologize if I'm not. And Adam Tyndall, both 2 new subs, recent subs as well this week, who are participating. Those are the ones that I can see. Those that aren't, don't have your privacy settings, I can't see you and shout you out, but welcome. And then Twitter, welcome to @UCF Uncut. So super excited to have you guys on board. Remember, like, subscribe, share, comment, and of course participate while we're doing it live, right? So with that being said, let's go ahead and swivot yet again to Alan's oxymoronic stat of the week. Alan, take it away. Oh, so, Alan, try that again.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I said just one small stat. I thought we were getting into quarterbacks today, so my thing was quarterback related. But so interesting. I was trying to look at the last time UCF has had a quarterback start 2 seasons in a row with 0 interruption, 0 injury, nothing, no controversy, anything, you know. So the last time UCF had a quarterback start from game 1 through the bowl game in 2 straight seasons was Blake Bortles in 2012, 2013. So we're going on 13 years. The closest we had to it was Dylan Gabriel. Nope, McKenzie missed the USF game because of the injury. I'm sorry, he missed the conference championship and then the game against LSU. So he did not finish the season. And then the closest one was Dylan Gabriel, but in week 1 of his freshman year, Brandon, what's his name, started the first game, and then
Wimbush.
DG took Wimbush, and then DG took over in week 2. So there has not been it since Blake Bortles. So it's been almost a decade and a half since the last time that's happened.
That's crazy.
That is absolutely crazy.
And not in a good way.
No. And that was even before the portal and all that stuff. So
yeah, that's nuts. All right. Thank you for that, Alan. We will talk quarterbacks next week as a reminder. But for this week, let's go ahead and swivot to Josh's sometimes funny fact of the week. Josh, take it away.
So Coach Tiff played for the gold medal winning 1996 Olympic soccer team. That actually makes 3 players tied to UCF women's soccer that were players on that team. Name the other 2.
Oh, short hair, blonde.
Yep.
Why can't I remember her name right now? She also really big into fighting for women's pay. Why can't I remember her name?
I see Trey and Alan silent.
I have no idea.
Well, Alan's silent because I muted him because he was clacking away on his keyboard.
I also
Okay.
have no idea the answer. So
Michelle Akers.
There you go. There's only one of the most famous women in
I
soccer
know. I'm like, I can picture her. I know who she is. I can totally remember her.
Good job. And I'll give you a note about her. I'll make it easy for maybe for Roger only. It was a previous head coach at UCF.
Ooh,
women's soccer coach.
Ooh.
Can you go back 13 plus years?
No. No.
Former Orlando Pride coach of a past couple of years?
The name is totally escaping me, man.
It's okay. That would be former head coach of UCF, Amanda Cromwell. So
Amanda Cromwell, there it is.
Yeah. One note on Michelle Akers. Pele named her amongst the only 2 female players, along with Mia Hamm, on the FIFA 100 list of greatest living soccer players in 2004. Like that's the level of player and alone we have. So that is that for that.
Do you remember the other Olympian that we had in men's volleyball?
Oh, Will Hauser. I can't remember. It's. I know who you're talking about. We never had a men's volleyball team, but I forget. Phil Dahlhauser. Did I get close?
Yep.
Ooh, yeah, baby.
That was a good one. As I pulled that one out without you looking. So
yeah. No. I'd let you know if I had to look it up.
More Olympians than you would think, and our soccer program, both men's and women's, has been pretty good over the years, even when we were in the lower tiers as far as divisions and or conferences. As I was mentioning earlier, the Sun Belt Conference and the conference that we're in, right, for men's soccer. Even some of the other G6s, North Florida's one. I think Florida Gulf Coast was one that's had a pretty good soccer program over the years as well. So there's more good soccer out there in the state of Florida than you would expect, and we've had a pretty good program all along. Okay, that takes us to proof in the pudding of a quick update on other UCF sports after the Swivet that Alan does not watch. So go ahead, Josh, and give us an update on that.
Absolutely. Alan definitely doesn't watch UCF women's soccer, but maybe he will now because Coach Tiff was on the program. As you know, because you listened to the first hour, right? They are 2-0-0 in the season, beating UAB 2-1 and 3-1. As Coach said, they actually haven't lost a game in the season or preseason. 2 home games are up next, again versus the Cows this Thursday at August 21st if you're watching live at 7 p.m. and versus LSU this Sunday, August 24th at 7 p.m. both in Orlando. Men's soccer starts with 2 away games this week. That is versus a receiving top 25 vote UNC on Thursday, August 21st at 7:30. So you can watch that on your phone while you're attending the women's game. And also preseason number 6 Wake Forest. Nice, easy Sunday afternoon. You can watch that on your phone while you're attending the UCF women's game. Is at the same time at 7 p.m. The UCF volleyball has an exhibition at the venue against the Cows yet again. That's on Saturday, August 23rd at 6 p.m. Clemente Silva of the men's golf team won the IPD Cup Golf Open in South America. That is his first win outside of his home of Chile. He was a lone competitor under par with a 70, 71, and 71. Lastly, women's tennis fall schedule is out with the ITA Southeast Regional and the NCAA Individual Championships, both in Orlando, Florida. They start off on September 20th through 27th in Cary, North Carolina at the ITA All-Americans. Back to you, Roger.
Thanks, Josh. It's gonna rain.
I went right into my old radio voice, WKWZ 88.5 FM. Like it kind of just felt like running copy. It was great.
Yeah, well, thank you for updating on all the other UCF sports. We'll have more of those as we come along this season. We should have Ben back next week. This weekend, though, we'll be creating some extra content outside of what you normally see, as we will be together and celebrating our upcoming 100th episode. So we are now at 98. We've got 2 to go. We skipped a week that we weren't expecting. Otherwise it would have coincided with football season, but super excited about that. So be on the lookout as we will post some more, behind the scenes kind of stuff and us celebrating with all the people that helped us along the way. Outside of that, I just want to thank everyone for following along. I want to thank Coach Tiff. She gave an amazing interview. If you're with us now and you weren't with us at the beginning, the first hour, she covered everything from NIL to coaching to international, like UCF's brand and where we stand within soccer. Some stories about the ADs that she's seen throughout the years. And just it's really, really, really good inside look, not just at this year's team, but the program as a whole. So check that out. Make sure that you're watching it. It's well worth the watch. She's an amazing human being. We're lucky to have her and a great coach. Outside of that, thank you everyone for watching, viewing, subscribing, sharing, and joining us live. Keep the comments going, correct us when we're wrong, and just make sure you're telling your friends. We appreciate you getting us here, and we're almost to 100, and we're almost to football season. So let's go. Next week, we'll talk about QBs, and as we ride the airwaves, go Knights and
charge on. Oh God, come on. So if you haven't heard it, Jid, God does like ugly.